Hello and welcome to Which is Greater. Today we'll be looking at two cooperative games, Robinson Crusoe and First Martians. Robinson Crusoe and First Martians, both games designed and published by the same team, based on the same system, but with very different approaches. And hey, since they're cooperative games, maybe today Matt and I can work together on this one. Hey, Matt? Matt? Matt?
Robin! Robin! Down here! That's right.
Matt? Where are you?
I'm on Mars!
Mars? But it looks just like the flat.
Yeah, well, I was feeling a bit homesick, so I redecorated. Make it a bit more homey.
And NASA approved of that?
Oh yeah, they sent up the paint.
Right. Do you have the copy of First Martians up there with you?
Yeah, it's basically our training manual.
Okay, let's get started then. Robinson Crusoe and First Martians both have the same core operating system, which is brilliant in its deviousness. Each player has two little discs which represent the effort they can put in and the time they have each day. During the main phase, you place out your discs on the relevant action spaces on the board, perhaps to explore or to build new equipment.
You can either place both discs together to take a single action, or place them separately to take two actions. But the trick here is that two discs together guarantees success, but you won't have time to do everything that way. A single disc is rushing the activity, then you must roll the dice.
You might simply fail to fix that system or build that shelter, or you might injure yourself, potentially harming group morale, or in the case of First Martians, getting a negative condition. But far, far worse, you might have an adventure.
Incoming message.
Matt!
So you look like you've been on an adventure.
Yeah, I was out exploring and I got attacked by a tiger.
That sounds nasty.
Yeah, I was hungry. What happened to you? You look fine.
Oh no, I was doing some maintenance in the hab, right?
Right.
And God, yeah, it was bad.
Really? What happened?
I felt this twinge in my back. I think I might have to go have a lie down.
What's really fantastic about these adventure cards is that they have long-term lasting effects. Once you've resolved the immediate effect printed on the back of the card, you shuffle it into this event deck, which you draw from every round. For example, this card means you gain an injury token on your player board, which is fine unless you ignore it, and then the adventure card drops out of the event deck and then you suffer the consequences. This is a brilliant storytelling mechanic. It means things follow on from your decisions, and it makes you responsible for things that would otherwise be just random, unfair events. And it ties into how you place your action discs. The more adventures you risk, the more difficulties you'll have to overcome. But you'll never survive the island unless you push your luck somewhere.
First Martians and Robinson Crusoe might have a lot of similarities, but First Martians' most striking new feature is its app, and it's in the events and adventures where the app has its biggest gameplay effect. The app generates events for you each round and tracks them on the main screen. If you choose to leave them too long, more bad stuff will happen because of them. Likewise, when adventures occur, you press a button and reveal a recent log entry describing what happened. They might not be the most exciting of adventures, but because they're in the app, you don't know what the long-term consequences will be. They nag at the back of your mind. Instead of facing an impossible checklist like in Robinson, you're forever being chased by shadows as your lonely hab module slowly decays around you.
What was that? Anyway, Robinson Crusoe is the real game of survival. You're marooned on a desert island with absolutely nothing. Each turn you have to explore the island to uncover new locations so you can find food, because you'll need to eat every turn, or wood because you need to build things. The right-hand side of the board is a big shopping list of tools and items you can construct, which will make your life easier. Most importantly, you have the shelter, which protects you from the worst of the weather, weapons for hunting the dangerous animals of the island, fire and medicine, and so on. But doing all those things won't actually help you win the game. Instead, there are scenario objectives to fulfill. So in the first scenario, called Castaways, you have to build a great signal fire before the ship passes by. It's classic adventure stuff. And that's just the basic scenario. You might instead face cannibals, or have to outrun an erupting volcano, or even rescue a movie cast from King Kong. The main game is tough and challenging, but then all the different scenarios give you entirely new ways to explore the island. It is such a great game. Matt, what have you been up to?
Oh, I've been making cement. Lovely, lovely cement.
Sounds exciting. Anything else?
Nope. Just a solid hour of cement making. Okay, yeah, cement mixing, right? But this is making cement on Mars. You have to go out and find the materials you need, which means suiting up and driving out in your rover to explore around the hab, figuring out the right mixtures in a scientific way, and that's the least exciting of the basic scenarios. You might have to rescue supplies from a failed drop on the other side of Mars, figure out how to sustain your plants before they wither and die. And once you're ready, you can attempt setting up the base from scratch, which is exactly as challenging as you would expect. Now, to finish your induction, I have to highlight this light display. Now, this is secretly brilliant, even if it does look utterly terrifying. But what these cubes do is tell you the status of all the HAB systems, just like a NASA status display should look. Any reds will start to scratch away at your reserves, either leaking your limited oxygen supply or draining power or causing more systems to malfunction, depending on what system is failing. To fix them, you need to have the part shown. But if you don't have that part, then you can still cannibalize other systems, moving the problem into a less serious place, and this is brilliant. It really makes you understand the workings of your environment and lets you come up with your own brilliant solutions. It's great, it makes you feel like you're Matt Damon from The Martian. But the real brilliance of First Martians doesn't reveal itself until you start on the campaigns, linked series of missions whose rules and contents are hidden inside these booklets and sealed packets. That's exciting enough, but what these campaigns do is really bring home what surviving on Mars is all about. You can't just ignore failing systems in order to pass this mission. That just moves the problem to the next mission. What it does is make it all about deciding between short-term gains and long-term campaign-level decisions. That's where First Martians really shows its greatness. It's such a great game.
So, a little bird tells me the rules for this game are a bit of a mess.
Was that little bird called the Internet?
Yes.
Yeah. See, I've really not experienced the kind of problems that a lot of people have been describing, and I don't know why. So, the rulebook is a pain to find things in, and this is a complex game with a lot of potential interactions. You know, they could have done a better job on it, but still, the amount of hate that's been thrown around it since launch isn't really justified in my experience. But I seem to be the only one saying that.
So, rules and production issues aside, let's focus on the gameplay, because that is the bit that everyone's interested in, right?
Yes, how reasonable and cooperative of you.
Oh, why, thank you. Now, First Martians strikes me as a little bit boring.
Wait, what? Weren't you watching my last log entry?
I was meaning to.
Wait, you're not watching them? I was doing them for you.
I'm sure they were great. I'm sure it was great. It was fantastic. Really good. Besides, we've been taking the mickey out of the game all episode.
Okay, well, I mean, the writing is kind of
Dull?
minimalist. But First Martians isn't trying to be an all-boys adventure game like Robinson. It's hard sci-fi. It's a look at the realities of surviving on Mars without, to my knowledge, resorting to silly alien storylines, and that is refreshing in board gaming.
But Robinson Crusoe's got King Kong.
I know, and that's going to have a big influence on whether people prefer one game over the other. But just because the hot takes don't sound as exciting as they do in Robinson, doesn't mean it's not got great story and theme. First Martians goes out of its way to simulate a NASA mission, and you know, NASA missions are scientific and procedural. Think of films like Apollo 13 and The Martian. Those are the stories you get to experience with First Martians.
So, no King Kong.
You get to hunt a malfunctioning probe.
But you're just saying that First Martians isn't as bad as it looks on the outside, whereas Robinson Crusoe has creativity and novelty on its side. It came first, and the scenarios and the gameplay are way more exciting and interesting. First Martians has to do better to win a Golden Grater.
Okay, ingenuity.
Go on.
I think First Martian's secret weapon is its great grid of lights, well, cubes. Solving problems here is often about figuring out where you can sacrifice parts to fix essential systems. It's the scene from Apollo 13 where they have to build a CO2 scrubber from odds and ends. Robinson makes you feel like a survivor, First Martians lets you feel like a genius.
But it also makes you feel at the mercy of events, like random malfunctions, or worse, the adventures. In contrast, we've already said how good the adventure system is in Robinson Crusoe. And it's good because you know the consequences and how to overcome them. First Martians hides that and kind of leaves you at the mercy of fate. I don't get it, why would you lose the best part of the original game?
Yeah, and I don't have a clear answer for that, except maybe it's more realistic. Life doesn't give you instructions for what's going to happen in the future. You know, it may be less satisfying as a gamer playing a game, but from a narrative perspective, I think maybe I prefer it.
But this is a game, not a movie.
It's an experience. It can share elements of both.
I can see that it has built on Robinson Crusoe in some aspects, but it really needed to go a lot further. First Martian feels more like a step sideways than a leap forward. Sure, it is a change in tone and feel, in style, but it's not a revolution.
I know. First Martians, even with the campaign, doesn't do enough to make it that much greater than what Robinson Crusoe's already achieved.
And that's ignoring the rules issues.
But I still really like it.
But the Golden Grater has to go to Robinson Crusoe.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, you left it here on Earth, so I don't know what you expected. So, what are you doing now?
I'm about to have some dinner and then I've got to go find some dirt to help my plants grow.
Oh, sorry Matt, I've got a dinner party. I better go clean up. Bye.
Robin? Bye.
Hi guys, and thank you for watching First Martians vs Robinson Crusoe.
This time, Robinson Crusoe took home the Golden Grater, but what do you think? Let us know in the comments below.
And if you enjoyed this video, then please like and subscribe and share it with all of your friends.
And then tune in next week where we're going to be looking at Splendor vs Century Spice Road.
Ooh, see you there.